right. GBC, we want to thank our sponsors. Up next are our next two presenters, and we're going to talk about cannabis, or just one. All right.
Hey. So I'm going to zoom us through pretty quickly, just because I don't want to step on the next presenter's time, and I could zoom through my spiel pretty fast. But what I'm here today, actually, I will back up. My name is Michael Diaz-Rivera. I'm a cannabis delivery business owner, and I'm here today to talk about interconnectedness and collaboration between not only the cannabis industry, but multiple industries throughout. The reason I say that is because I would not be where I'm at today without my community. And so, actually, I want to start a little grounding exercise, because I just told you about my business side, and I wear lots of hats with that. I'm currently a solopreneur, so I'm owner, operator, management, sales, wear lots of hats. But personally, I wear a couple other hats as well. I'm a former educator, so you may notice with my talking style, I may be like a fifth grade teacher. I don't mean to infantilize you, but that's just so. With that class, can you raise your hand if you ever had a teacher that inspired you? And so what if we took that teacher spirit into our business spaces to inspire each other to create the better world that Good Business Colorado is all about? And that's what we are about with Better Days Delivery, where we say better days are on the way. And actually, I'm meant to ground this, because I actually have a whole other hat that I wear. I'm a father. And so every day before I leave my house, I make sure to tell my kids a little saying. So you don't have to speak it out loud to yourself, but I'm saying it to you right now, because I just want to empower you to remember that you are strong, you are smart, and you are unstoppable. That has nothing to do with my business, but I want to empower you, and that's what Better Days Delivery is all about. You see, I come up in a world where I didn't always feel the most empowered with the things that were going around me. Grew up in extreme poverty, single-parent home, and there were just a lot of struggles around me to where I was homeless in high school, selling drugs as a way of survival, which then led me to being the age of 19, getting a felony for possession of marijuana. Luckily, that felony led me to the probation office, which is interesting to say, luckily, but the probation office actually told me go to school or get a job. So I went to school, I became a fifth grade teacher, and that's where I really learned about the ability to make an impact. And now I'm passing that into my business of Better Days Delivery, where we say better days are on the way, because we know not only are my worst days are behind me, but just imagine, if you're at home, you're having a bad day, somebody brings some weed, your day is probably going to get better. Yeah. And so that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about with my presentation is interconnectedness. And it's something that I've learned through cannabis that connect to multiple other parts of the industry, other industries in the Colorado space. So one of the first ones I'll talk to you about is economic equity. With this plan, we have the ability to help out economically those that have been disenfranchised by the war on drugs. And not only that, there are other industries where people have been left out. And so we can begin to think about any industry that we are in, how can we reach out to those that have been marginalized to create the equity that they need to thrive and succeed? Something else, I don't know about you, but I told you I'm a father, and this global climate change is really scaring me. I don't know what the world's going to look like in 30 years, but what if as business owners we started to think about environmental equity? What could we do with our businesses so that we're actually giving back to the environment, helping to clean up? Oh, I forgot to tell you all, another hat that I wear is I'm a black hippie. So I'm all about giving back to the environment. Then human equity. I don't know about you, but in my past work experience, a lot of times I felt just like another number. I wasn't being empowered. The resources weren't being shared with me that were actually going to grow. I'd go into meetings with my bosses and I wasn't felt valued. I'd walk out of the meeting where I didn't feel like I was meant to be part of a growing business. I was just another cog in the wheel. And so with Better Days Delivery and Good Business Colorado, I'm hoping that we can do more than that. We don't have to be the traditional business that's just stereotypically just going to leech off people and leave it to the wayside. We can actually change the game, change the world, and actually help people to grow and have self-actualization. I'm messing up my words. Sorry about that. And then social equity. That's how I got into the cannabis space. We know that since marijuana was legalized in Colorado, we had made billions off the tax revenue. But there are traditionally marginalized communities that haven't had access to this opportunity. So social equity came in for an opportunity for those that may have weed charged, those that may have been targeted by the police, or those that just grew up in impoverished areas, to give them the resources that they need to thrive. And what I want to present today is, what if we gave these opportunities to those that maybe don't even want to have to work in the weed industry? What if folks want to work in printing, or they want to work in security, or the many different industries that are all connected and contribute to a better Colorado? Another potential benefit, and actually I did want to put a caveat. I know I'm probably over on a couple more minutes. The potential benefits of the cannabis industry. So I don't know about you all. When I came up, the drug dealers were like, whoa. But I'm here to tell you, Colorado cannabis industry is not actually thriving currently. The market is oversaturated. As other states are now legalizing, the Colorado market is seeing a plateau where most businesses are not actually meeting their projections. Margins are tighter than they've ever been. And we need to do something as other industries to support the cannabis industry. And the reason I bring that up is because the cannabis industry brings a lot of tax revenue into the state of Colorado. Class, raise your hand if you've ever heard of a sin tax. So sin taxes are when we tax things more when they're connected to things that are more immoral based on social standards. And so that's why cannabis is taxed more than maybe retail or closed operation. And that's actually, it's a problem, but it's a benefit to the state. I say it's a problem because when cannabis customers go to buy cannabis, they're taxed plus 30% of their purchase. And so when they're seeing that receipt and I'm telling them how much they need to pay, they're looking at just the taxes alone. It minimizes the amount that they're going to want to spend in the cannabis industry, which could minimize the amount that they're going to spend in ancillary business as well. And it's all connected. If we look at how much the cannabis industry is bringing in compared to the alcohol and tax and tobacco industries, cannabis is bringing in a lot more revenue, but the cannabis industry is a lot more regulated and less supported, in my opinion. This is why the cannabis industry needs to get out of just the cannabis industry silo and start building relationships with other industries so that we can actually have coalitions and work together that will benefit Colorado as a whole. And even that last piece, I told you I used to be a teacher. There's a lack of transparency in our classroom. As a teacher, we were told that weed money was coming into our classrooms. In fact, when weed was legalized, that was one of the selling points, is that revenue was going to go into classrooms. But it's not going into Denver urban schools. The way the legislation was written, the money's going into suburban construction, which there are other kids that need to be taught as well. But if all the money's coming from Denver, I think we could get some money into Denver from that money as well. So stay tuned. Better Days Delivery is actually working on an op-ed tracing that money from the public school fund to talk about just following the finances. And that's just something that we would like to see with Good Business Colorado and others within the space, is just stress the importance of raising awareness within the industry. Encourage your audience to become involved and advocate for informed and balanced cannabis policies. I say that because, I'll be honest, politics has not always been my wheelhouse, so I came to Good Business Colorado to learn more, to figure out how I could get more involved in the political spectrum. Thanks to GBC, I've learned more about lobbying, Senate, House, how everything works. And we just have to encourage each other to work together and show up more often. And that's how we're really going to benefit the state, if we work together. And cannabis is one of the issues that I want to, and actually, I will wrap it up. That will,
You can go as long as you'd like.
Okay.
Yep, you have the room for the rest. Yep.
Oh, well,
They moved the
it's a small group, we'll probably into, but
Yeah.
we'll have a quick discussion. In terms of other organizations that support cannabis that I think the Colorado business industry should be supporting are organizations like Leaf 411. It's the Leaf Nursing Network, because as cannabis employees, we can't give medical advice, but they are medical practitioners that actually can give medical advice. So with everything that's happening in the health industry right now, if we think about cannabis and how that connects to health equity, it's easy to see the interconnectedness and how that can work. But also groups like MCBA, BIPOC, Can, Last Prisoner Project, that are actually helping people of color, people that have felonies, veterans, minorities, to navigate the cannabis industry. That's how we really could work together. So I just want to lift those up as other orgs to support, and thank you all for your time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any other ideas of other organizations that might not even be necessarily marijuana related that you could see dovetailing into the industry?
Other organizations that aren't marijuana
already necessarily connected to, like, for instance, farmers.
Yeah.
Like, there's this thing called the Grain Chain that ended up connecting bakers to heirloom wheat to people that are farmers that share seeds. It's an interesting, I'm wondering.
Yeah. That's actually kind of what I was trying to get through in my message. I may have just rushed you, but that's basically what it is, well, one, Colorado's a vertically integrated state. So a lot of cannabis businesses, they're doing a lot of the operations on themselves. And I think that's kind of our detriment, because it's creating more monopolies rather than helping people to work together and grow together. Where, like you're saying, if we have cultivators, or actually even before that, if we have people that are just nursing the plant in nurseries, working on the different genealogy, clones and all of that, and then we connect them to the cultivators, who are then connected to the retailers, and then could be connected to bakeries,
like all sorts of other like types of community, you know, because we know how many people in this state partake.
Exactly.
It's like, it goes hand in hand with food.
And even that, with the farming piece, cannabis can be grown very similar to tomatoes. It's a little bit more work than tomatoes, but what if we taught people how to grow cannabis while at the same time teaching them to grow their own food?
Yeah.
That could just make our community ecosystem that much stronger.
They're actually good companion plants for some of the vegetables.
See?
I'm a gardener by nature, so yeah. I had another question, but it kind of slipped. How do you deal with the toxic environment in which most grow operations are existing?
Yeah, and that's actually
something that also is being looked at in your industry.
Yeah, and so that's actually something that I have been talking to folks about, just the sustainability aspect. Because of regulations, the way the cannabis industry is set up right now, there's a lot of waste and toxins that are leaving out of your grow retail facility.
Well, I actually mean the workplace toxicity.
Oh, well,
the person to person, the way that the people are being treated that work for the grow industry, and then the way they end up treating each other in turn.
Yep. Yeah.
The ego.
Yep. Yeah. So one, there's a lot of.
You could talk about it.
Yep. Sorry, my mind was still stuck on just like the green waste part, toxins. So I've been talking to a lot of people about just recycling and what we could do just to be more green there.
Yep.
But in terms of like the social aspect and the way people are treated, especially growers, it's something that needs to be talked about more. Because the cannabis industry is nothing without the plant. And in the state of Colorado, the price of flower has gone to the ground. And so the growers are being treated like trash, which then they're treating their employees like trash, and none of it goes to creating a good ecosystem. So that's something I'm hoping will start happening, is like transparent, accountable conversations.
Yeah, it's interesting that they connect. No, but it makes sense it's interconnected in the fact that the price is going down.
Yeah.
And there's more people growing. So, yeah, it's been really interesting to watch the whole journey Colorado's gone on.
Yeah.
From like when we first passed those first laws, like the Pirates of the Caribbean style, just like, let's do this.
Yeah. I have a question. You did shout out a lot of really good organizations. Do you have any thoughts on how people can get more involved from a local or a national perspective?
Yeah. So yeah, out of those orgs, some of them were Colorado, like BIPOC Camps, Colorado, and most of them were actually national. But I'd say how people get involved is just reach out. That's how. So, and I was going to talk more about that. Just like my transition from educator to a business person has been heavy. And so that's really, I've had to lean on my community, like Good Business Colorado, to, and those other words that I listed, to figure out how to navigate this weed industry. And so at first I was like shy and like humble of like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. Can y'all just talk to me, help me out? And now everybody's just been kind and open. So yeah, if anyone wants to get more involved in these orgs, feel free to reach out to them or reach out to me and I'll gladly connect you to local organizations and national orgs, which I was going to also talk about that. There's a big national change happening with cannabis as we're looking at decriminalization, SAFE Act, and all of that. And so with federal legalization, everything that's coming on, I'm really trying to get marginalized communities, social equity folks, people of color, to really get our voices in the community, because traditionally we've been left out. And that's why the others have been able to make billions and we haven't been able to. So as federal legalization comes, I'm trying to help more people get to the table so we can make something good happen. Because Colorado is actually one of the leaders nationally in cannabis. And so interstate transportation is something we should be talking about.
Yeah, I know that a lot of states look to us sort of to see how to model ways as their states come online.
Yeah.
But it is true. I wonder, that's another great legislative point, is like, again, like letting people out of jail and letting them be part of the community. The originators that used to, be the ones that did all of this should not be excluded from now the profiteering. Yeah. Like I'm 1,000% behind that. And are there organizations that do that specifically right now that are working towards that?
Yeah, I'm actually, because that's a big passion of mine. I have to go do the survivor's guild because of that, because I got a felony. And actually, I'll be honest, a lot of my friends and family are still caught up in like drugs and poverty and all of that. And so I'm lucky to be in the position I'm in, and I'm trying to fight for others. It doesn't make sense that Colorado's making billions off this plant and we still have people in jail for weed charges. So I'm working with a couple groups like Expunge Colorado, Second Chance Center, Reentry Project. So to do one expungement work to just help people get those records off of their criminal records so that they can apply and do whatever they want to in life, but also career readiness for whatever they want to, giving them the resources, the training that they need so that they can be whatever they want to be in the world. And so that's something that we're trying to push. And with federal legalization, we're even trying to pressure Biden right now to maybe do like a sweet sealing expungement thing. So we'll see. But
yeah, that's amazing.
We need your support. Please join the conversation. You can catch me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Better Days Delivery CO, ABC Delivery LLC. Thank you for your time.
Yay!